So, for example, Kazakhstan changed the capital from Altamay, which is near Kyrgyzstan, China, towards uh, Astana, which is in central Kazakhstan, because there's less earthquakes compared to Altamay. And, Astana has better climate, despite it has more flooding risk, but in the long run, it's prone to less natural disasters. And so things change, right? And so the border here would probably be, the Caucasus Mountains, similar to Russian border. So you would have Georgia, Azerbaijan, and Armenia in the Caucasus, and you have like the northern parts, like Alania, which is the descendants of the Alans, who are also the Alanian people, who are descendants of the Alans in the 8th century AD, 700 AD, who are the descendants of the Rouran or the Zhuan peoples, in the 5th century in China, in modern day Mongolia and northern China, the Rouran Khanate. And they migrated towards this area, and some of them migrated to Hungary, the Carpathian Mountains, because they were driven out by the Gokturks, and their dynasty was in a decline, and the Gokturks, which is north of the Altai Mountains, challenged that family, and the Rouran tribes, they either surrendered or they fled away, and there are also some Rouran people remaining inside north of Hebei province, parts of Inner Mongolia, predominantly the eastern side, like Silingol, that merged with the Komushi peoples, and some of them formed the Chinese Tartars. And the reasons called Chinese Tartars, or Jurchen Tartars, because they were controlled by the Jin dynasty, which means gold, Jin, Jin, with the first tone mark in Chinese. And you had the black Tartars, who live in the north, and white Tartars, who live in the west. And black is Kara in Turkish, and Ak, A-K or A-Q, is white, while Kara, K-A-R-A or Q-A-R-A, is black. So black Tartars are called, Tatar, or Tatar, or Dada in Chinese, called Dada, or Hey Dada, or unfamiliar Dada, because there was, it wasn't really bordering China, so and they weren't really engaging in trade with other Mongol tribes in China and Korea, so that's why they called black Tartars or unfamiliar Tartars, and the familiar Tartars are called white Tartars, and this is the Ongud tribe, Ongud, and some of them are Christians, like Nestorian Christian, Christianity that was a school of Christianity or a sect of Oriental or Eastern Christianity, sort of like founded by Nestorius in around Greece and Assyria, which is Iraq and modern day Syria. And the Ongol tribe is like a white Tatar, and the black Tatar is black Dada. Yeah, Dada. So this whole Tartaria and Chinese Tartar, they have different meanings. So basically, Europeans encompassed all these peoples as Tartarians, but Tartarians are split into like Mongolians, Manchurians, and like Tartars, like Chinese Tartars. You have black Chinese Tartars, white Chinese Tartars, and you also have like Occidental Tartars, like Western Tartars, right? Which is like Kazan, Astrakhan and Crimea. These are like the Western Tartars or the Occidental Tartars. And you have Oriental Tartary, which Chinese Tartary is like a part of it, and then it's like further split. So think of like Tartaria as a tree root, and then the main branches are the first two big trunks of its branch would be Occidental Tartary and Oriental Tartary. And for example, this further subdivides into Kazan, right? Kazan Tartary, or the Golden Horde Tartars. And then this divides into, you know, Tatarstan and Bashkortor, Bash, Bashkirtostan, you know, Mordvia, you know, Mordvins, right? And then further subdivides into Nogai, Astrakhan, Sibir. So think of like Occidental Tartary being like a tree trunk being further subdivided into Kazan, Nogai, Astrakhan, Crimea. And then think of Oriental Tartary divided into Chinese Tartary, Mongol, Uyghur, you know, as a bigger branch. And then you have smaller branches, which is, you know, the tribes, for example, like black Tatar and then white Tatar. And then you have the Naimans, the Onguds, which is white Tatar, and then you have, you know, Kyriads and all these tribes. Thank you for watching. I'll make more videos.